Hi everyone, welcome to the Simple Art at Home Summer Camp Art Series with me, Laura Houston. Get your art supplies ready because together we will get creative, learn about art, and have some fun along the way. I'll meet you at the art table. Okay, so we are going to get started on the beginner lesson, and it's called Sleepy Pet, and this is part 1. For today, you're going to need these supplies. You should have 3 pieces of white paper, and the directions were already given to your teacher, but just so you know, here they are. You're going to need a pencil today and either a black crayon or a black pen. I always like to have a good eraser, and this is optional, but you might want a cup or something that will help you trace a good circle. I'm just using one of my water cups that I use for painting. So what we're going to be making is we're going to make a cat, and then I'm also going to show you how to make a hamster, so you can choose which one. You probably won't have enough paper to make both, but you can make a cat or a hamster. And then we're going to make a little bed, and we're going to tuck him in the bed. It'll be very cute. So I'm going to set these 2 papers aside right now. You can just put them on the floor by your desk. That's usually what I do, in a place where it won't get stepped on. And why don't you maybe wait and watch me draw the cat first, and then you can decide which one you want to do, a cat or a hamster. You know what, maybe I'll do this. I'm just gonna change my plans here real quick. I'm just gonna show you. This is what the cat looks like, and this is what the hamster looks like, okay? So you can, now that you know what they look like, maybe you'll know which one you want to follow along with, okay? I'm gonna show the cat first. Okay. Oops. I keep it stuck on the wall in front of me so that I can look at my sample. So I'm just gonna start with tracing his head, and I'm using my pencil. And you don't have to use a cup. If you just want to draw a circle the best you can, that's completely fine. We don't have to be perfect here. And that's the only thing we're using the cup for. And then I'm going to give him a couple of ears, so make sure you leave room for cat ears. I'm just going to have one go like this, kind of like triangles, but curved a little bit. And then I'm going to curve a little line right here to show like the little skin on his ear there. And then I'll do another ear over here, something like that. And it's hard to get ears to look exactly the same, so it's okay if they don't. Okay, and I think I'm gonna draw my cat with her eyes closed. So I'm just going to draw some eyes like this. If you want to draw open eyes, however you want, you can do this however you want. And then a little upside down triangle for a nose. So I'm just going to do something like this. I'll go back over this with my black pen, and I'll make a little cat mouth like this. We're keeping this very simple. And maybe we'll have some whiskers. And what I like to do with whiskers, I have one going straight to the side, and one goes up a little bit, and one goes down. So you don't have to do them like that, but it's just an idea. And why don't I outline this with pen so that you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so first I'm gonna outline the circle. I know that you can see this better when I use my black Sharpie. Maybe you want to do this with a black crayon. If you have a black pen, you can use the black pen too. And here's where you can change anything if you want to. I'm gonna make this ear a little bit wider because I can always erase the pencil. There. I'm just gonna make some little happy closed eyes. And there's his nose. I don't know yet if I'm gonna color his nose black or maybe make it pink, so I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. And then I have some whiskers. There. I like to use pencil first in case I need to erase something. Okay. So next we're going to have arms that connect from the head, and then they're going to go out towards the edge of the paper. So you know what? I'm gonna borrow this cat again to show you so you get an idea of how he fits on this paper. I think that's better for you to understand this. And we're cutting his arms. There needs to be a space here because we're gonna tuck him into the bed, you'll see. Okay, so I'm going right from his corner of his face right there, and I'm just going to take an arm and go almost all the way. Just do a simple arm on each side with a little paw, and then he's going to have kind of a skinny body at the top, and then just do some legs. He's going to have a very simple shape. Okay, I'll outline this so you can see it better. And for those of you who are interested in drawing a hamster, I will show you how to draw the hamster next. And then we can just put some little lines here to represent little paws. Okay, so I'm going to set the cat to the side. And next, I'm going to demonstrate the hamster. And why not? I'll put the hamster right here so you can see it as I'm drawing it. Okay, I suppose I could start with the cup again. I didn't do that with this one, so I'm just going to show you if you don't have a cup, just leave room for ears at the top, and the hamster's body is smaller. See that? He's wide, but stout, I would say. So I'm just sketching with my pencil, something like this. We want him to have a round, cute, chubby face and some round ears, not triangles. The cat has more triangle ears, but a hamster has little round, soft ears. We can still do something like that to show like a little flap of skin. And as far as the body goes, we still want the hands to be separated because that's where we're going to tuck him into the bed. So make sure you do the strange little arms the way I'm showing you because they're for a purpose. So I'm going to put a little hamster arm here. And we'll put another little hamster arm here. And then he's going to have a round tummy because hamsters are kind of like that. Okay. And then just some little tiny hamster feet. I'll fill in the rest of the details with the black pen. Okay, so why don't we start with the ears? And it has something like a little flap of skin like that. We'll do the same thing up here. And I'm going to take this right down here. I don't think I'm going to draw under the chin. And let's give him a little hamster nose. Not quite sure what a hamster nose looks like. I'm going to make a smaller mouth than the cat. And let's do an eye. I'm going to leave a white part there. So I'm drawing a circle, and I'm going to fill in the rest. I know I want the eyes black, but that's like a little light shining on his eye. You can even do, like if you want to do little eyelashes, you can do that too. I'll do another eye right here. Circle inside. I make it a little bit bigger. That's a good thing. Like when you're coloring in, you can make things larger. There. And I can do something like that. And hamsters have an interesting little marking on their faces. It's something that we can kind of show like fur. It's like white. Sometimes they have like white marking on their face, and it goes like over their cheeks and around here. It's just like I think I'll color him like brown and white. And then if we want, we can do like little cute whiskers right there. And then as far as his little arms go, I think I need to make these straighter like that. And, you know, I think hamsters, we could do this on him too. And make a little body. Little feet. And I guess you could decide if you want to completely color that in. I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, so this sample came out a little bit bigger, but I think that's completely fine. Oh, I forgot the markings on his tummy. So we'll do something like this, because we'll make that white too. Okay, and you can add some more details later, but we're going to actually cut here. We're going to separate the arms a little bit. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to set the pet aside, and next we're going to move on to the quilt. Okay, so the quilt cover is the paper. So you have two other papers left. Okay, you have one that's a long rectangle, and you have one that's a perfect square that should be 10 by 10. I changed my mind. At first I had it a different size, but as I was practicing, I changed it. So this is the perfect square, and this is going to be the bed cover. So if I can kind of show you, when we make a bed, we're going to tuck him in. We're going to tuck the animal, the little pet, inside the bed like this. That's why what I was talking about with cutting arms. Okay. So for the bed cover, think about like a quilt or a blanket. Think about what you might have on your bed. I'm going to draw something that resembles a traditional like patchwork quilt. So I'm going to start by just creating a square. I'm going to leave a little white space all around the edge. And then I'm thinking about the little fringe that might be on the edge of a blanket or a quilt, like little pieces of sewn threads or string. And this is just my interpretation of a simple little quilt. You can create your bedspread or blanket any way that you want, with any design that you want. I'm just thinking like a quilt might have some threads. I'm just giving the idea that it's been sewn, that somebody made it, so it looks like cloth. And one more side. It also makes it a little more interesting because everything else is going to be plain, like simple and solid, but I'm gonna put a pattern on my quilt. Okay, so I think we should start by, I'm gonna start with just dividing up this quilt into sections. So I'm gonna put one here, and the lines don't have to be perfectly straight because it's fabric, right? And I'll do one here. So you can start by kind of doing a T, or dividing each section so you have 4, and then we can divide them again. So I'm going to divide this here and divide this here. So now I have 4 sections on top and 4 sections on the bottom. But now I'm going to turn my paper. I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to draw a line here, and I'm going to draw a line here. And then I can, when it's time to color, I can do a creative pattern. Now, sometimes quilts have patterns like something like this. So what we could do, let me just see what happens. Let me use a thinner pen. What happens if I divide some of these squares in half? See what it might look like. Kind of like a pattern inside of the pattern. So if you want to divide, and that way you can color them in different sections as well. It's kind of interesting. We could also fill some with little lines like this to also make it look like it's been sewn. But you don't have to. You can do yours any way that you want to. I think I'll try to balance this out and do the same thing here. You can put anything that you want in these little boxes. Like if you want to put some stars or a sun, or a little moon, or a happy face. It could be, you know, a fun bedspread like that. Maybe I'll show you an example. So if we wanted to put a little sun in here, we could go like this. We could just do a circle. And if I think of it as like a quilt, might be a little pattern like this all the way around. That could be neat. You could do a little crescent moon. Let me sketch a crescent moon first here. So if I had a circle, the crescent moon might come around like this. Could have a moon in one. You can do some stars, anything that you want. I kind of like the little moon and the sun because it reminds me of bedtime. There. Okay, so you get the idea. You can do any kind of pattern that you want on the quilt. And then we have one last part of this project for part 1 until we finish with part 1. So the last part, and if you're not finished, you can always pause the video here. You always can pause to catch up with me. But this is this long piece of paper. It's a rectangle. It's going to be the back of the bed. Like if you can think of the bottom sheet. And so we're going to be putting the quilt. We'll be gluing in part 2, but if you can see, you know, we're going to have the quilt here that's going to be colorful, but we want to draw a pillow here. Okay, so for example, if our little hamster gets tucked in the bed, and we want a pillow here that we'll just draw on there. Okay, and the same thing, you know, if we tuck the little cat in. So I'm just going to kind of sketch. So remember, make sure before you draw your pillow, lay the quilt and line it up at the bottom so that you have the room, because you have room at the top here. So you can see how much room is here. We're gonna take up this space, and when I think of a pillow, I'm not gonna, you can draw a perfect rectangle, but I'm gonna make mine a little bit like wavy, and it's gonna be like something like this. It's like a pillow, a big fluffy, soft pillow. Let me outline that so you can see it a little bit better. It doesn't have to be that big, but no, I think it'll be fine like that. Oh, look how cute that's gonna be when we color all this in. So I'm just gonna kind of put a pillow here. And when I color the pillow for part 2, I think I'll just do a solid color because the quilt is going to be so detailed. Okay, so kind of wrapping up part 1. So let me show you what we have so far. I'll kind of set everything out in case your teacher wants to pause the screen. So you have either a hamster or a little cat all ready to be cut out and colored. And then you have the bed part in 2 pieces. We haven't glued anything yet, where you have a pillow at the top, and this is the quilt paper right here. Okay, and for part 2, I'm going to show you how to color everything in, and then we'll cut out our pets and glue part of the quilt on there so that the little animal can go to bed and then wake up in the morning. Okay, so this is the end of part 1, and if you need to keep working, you can keep working, and we'll start part 2 another time. Okay, this is part 2 of our beginner lesson called Sleepy Pet. And for part 2, you're going to need a pair of scissors, a glue stick, and something to color with. You can use crayons or watercolors. Okay, so I'm going to just set some items aside here. And I'm going to start with demonstrating how you might want to color or paint the cat or the hamster. Okay, so I think maybe I'll use a little bit of crayon and a little bit of watercolor. You can mix them, you know. Okay. So I think I'm gonna start gonna give my hamster a little pink nose, but you can do any color that you want to. And I might do the same thing for the cat. And I think I'll color the inside of his ears with some pink as well. I think I'm just gonna do the same thing for the hamster. And you can paint or color your pet any color that you want to. It doesn't have to be like real life colors. So I think what I will do for my hamster, I might add, I'm gonna paint him probably brown and yellow, or you know what, I might leave some of this white. Let's see. I don't even know if that white crayon will show up under my, I'll add some white paint there. Let's see what happens if we mix the white waxy crayon. Maybe it'll look like fur. Okay. So I forgot to tell you that if you are going to be painting, you'll want some sort of a cup of water, and I always like to use a paper towel. And maybe I'll paint the hamster first. So I'm just going to get a little bit of water here. I'm adding some brown. If you add water to your paper first, the paint will go on lighter. It'll be less dark. You can make your hamster any color that you want. I'm gonna leave the part around his face white. He's already looking cuter now that he has a little color. You could use your brown crayon. Let me just show you real quick. If you wanted to show like fur, you could take your brown crayon and make little marks like that and then paint. That could be cute too. That's just, you know, you can mix crayon with watercolor. See how it kind of shows through a little bit there. What happens if I add a little red on top? I'm not quite sure. That's kind of cute. Because I don't have pink paint, but the red comes out pretty light. I think that's cute. Okay, I'm gonna continue. I got distracted. I'm gonna continue with his little body, but I'm gonna keep the white stomach area like white fur. Don't forget his feet. Well, maybe you want his feet to be white. I'm just gonna color them in brown. Oh, my paint set doesn't have white. I could just add a little hint of this orangey yellow color just to add so it's not completely white. See how that looks. Might be interesting. Look at that. It's kind of mixing. It's mixing with the white crayon. There. Look how quick that was. If you want to take time and add more details, you can. With this little cat, I'm gonna paint him maybe orange and brown. I could do a few little marks. I I could do a few little marks on his forehead. Like sometimes little cats have stuff like this, little markings like that. Pick his little face. I'm using the orange part. You could paint your cat black. Maybe you're using crayons. You could put a little like brown here on his chest area and then blend it in with orange. Sometimes cats have different colors. And we could just fade that out into orange. Don't be afraid to mix your colors. You could paint stripes on your cat. And we're purposely not putting a tail on the cat. I mean, if you wanted to, you could. But I think we're keeping this very simple. I have 3 cats at my house. They wake me up very early in the morning because they want food. It's okay if it's Monday through Friday because I have to get up early anyway for work. But on Saturday and Sunday, it's not that fun. So I might add a few like brown spots here and there. You know how cats have different colors mixed in with their fur? Just kind of fade that out a little bit. Yeah. You paint your cat however you want. Maybe his little chin. Maybe his little chin will have some brown on it. And I might even add brown up here to that marking on the top of his head. There. I write down his little nose. That kind of looks good. Let me smooth out his chin. And maybe just to smooth out the nose and ears, I'll add the little bit of red in there. Okay, so I'm gonna set the little pets aside right now because I'm gonna be cutting them out, but I need them to dry for a little bit, and so will you. You'll need it to dry before we cut. So they're just gonna sit over on the side while we work on the quilt. So there, look, you can still see the little hamster's face. He's so cute. All right, so here's the quilt that we worked on for part 1. And you can use crayons, you can use anything that you have that your teacher has passed out to you. I'm just gonna start with my son. Hopefully you finished adding everything that you wanted to add to your quilt. And next I will paint the moon. I'm gonna kind of do yellow, and I'll put a few little streaks of gray in him. Oh, that's brown. I thought that I was grabbing black. That's okay. It'll still be cool. It'll look good. It adds a little interest. There. Okay. Here's my moon. And then as for the other squares, you can decide on, what colors you want to use. I think I love blue. just going to make this very like colorful. I'm going to add green. If you divided any of your squares diagonally, then you could use 2 different colors if you want to, but you don't have to. You could still color them in all one color. So what I mean by that is if I wanted to take like red right here for this part, I could do that. You have to find the right amount of water to use with the paint, because you know we are just using construction paper, and we don't want, if you use too much water, it could tear. I'll do another red over here. So I'm just going to go through and take my time and paint this. You might want to paint it in a pattern. Like for example, I might do all 4 corners blue, but you don't have to. You can just paint the whole bedspread one color if you want to. Or if you're using your crayons, just color it all one. I'm using a thicker brush on the squares, a larger brush. Okay. I think I'll try to use a few more areas of red. And notice this one, even though it has a diagonal drawn in it, I'm still just painting it all one color. And that's okay, because you can still see the line through it. I think it'll still look good. Ooh, let's add purple. So I've used red, a little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow, green, blue, purple. We can have black on our quilt. Sometimes when you use black, it makes the other colors stand out brighter. I'm trying to let the sun and the moon dry a minute more before I paint around them, because when you have wet watercolors, they tend to blend in together. I like how that looks so far. Maybe I'll try to get some orange over here. Why don't I mix mix another green right here. I think I'm gonna get my thinner brush and see if I can paint around the moon. Oh yeah, it's fine. You can even leave a little space white if you want to make sure they don't run together. But even if they do run together, I think that looks nice with watercolors. And if your paint gets too thick like that, just add a little water so it flows across the paper. Almost done with the quilt. The fun thing is you can make all kinds of, you can make more pets, like you can make a dog, you can even make, what else do you have at home? Does anybody have a bearded dragon? Do you have a tortoise? There we go. Oh, I have one more to color in. I think I really like, I want to keep it lighter. I'll do another orange right here because I'm liking the way the orange looks. Okay, for my last square, you could even keep some white if you want that look too. You could do a checker pattern. Okay, I'm just going to leave the outside edge white. Okay, so I'm actually finished with the coloring right now. So I'm gonna clean my desk off a little bit so I have more room for the cutting. Put my paintbrushes away. Okay. I'm going to set aside the quilt over here, and I'm going to show you how to cut the arms in just the right way. So I'm going to start with the cat, and I'm cutting outside of the black line because I want the black line to show. But if you cut on the black line, that's fine. This is just good cutting practice. Okay, so when it comes to the arms, I'm cutting up. I need to cut a little place up here. So his arms will go on top. I don't know if you could hear my cat. That's one of my cats making noise right now. It's because it's almost dinner time. I'm at home. One of my cats is the one who speaks for the others. The other two are quiet, but one will meow out loud when it's time to eat dinner. Or breakfast. Okay, I'm gonna cut all the way up right there. Make sure that you take care of your scraps, that they make it into the trash can. We all have to do our part. When you do arts and crafts, there's always cleanup afterwards. Okay, so so one of these arms has more space. I'm gonna cut this a little bit higher, right up. I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. Right on that line, right up there. There. So the arms can slide on top of the quilt. I'm gonna set him down. Let me cut out the hamster. We're almost done. You can add details later too, like maybe you want to put a little collar on your cat or a bow. Something cute like that. Oh, I'm gonna cut the arms after. Cut around his little feet. Okay. Mine is a little bit wet, and once they dry, they'll flatten out and stiffen up. Okay, so I'm finished with all the cutting. So now I'm gonna get that piece of paper that we drew the pillow on. Here's the paper with the pillow. Look how cute. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be cute if they could fit? Oh, I forgot to show you how to cut the arms on the hamster. Okay, so I'm just gonna follow, just cut next to the black line. There. See, I'm just cutting into his body there. See that? So he's real skinny right there, so you don't want him to tear it, but if he tears, you just use tape. Okay, we're almost done. My quilt is still a little bit wet, and maybe yours is too if you used watercolors. But we're going to put glue only on 3 edges, okay? Because we want the little pet to be able to get in the bed like that, okay? So we're gonna put glue on this side, we're gonna put glue on this side, and glue on the bottom. Don't put glue on the top because then you can't play with them and, you know, take them in and out of the bed. So don't put glue on the top. So I'm just gonna take my quilt paper and I'm gluing 3 sides. How many sides? Just 3 sides. Don't glue the 4th side, which is the top. There, and I'm not gluing the center, I'm just going around the border. And I'm going to lay it down. I'm gonna lift this up so you can see. I'm trying to match it up. Right there. There. Okay, I'm matching it up. I'm pressing my finger around 3 sides where I glued. I forgot to paint the pillow. But that's something that I'll let you do since I'm kind of running out of time. You can paint your pillow. And then look. He just sleeps right in there. The pillow could be white. I think it would be better though if it were a soft color. Let's see. Let's see what the hamster looks like. Oh, isn't that cute? We put the hamster in the bed. That's cute too. Maybe I'll take my crayon and just put a soft yellow color here, just so that it's not the same color as the white paper behind. It's okay. We can take a few minutes just to finish our project. This can even be done later if your class is out of time. See, I'm just drawing some yellow lines like that. And it's just the idea that there's some color there. There, it just makes it a little more interesting, and it makes the pillow stand out. I want to see if they'll both fit. I don't think they will. Will they both fit in there? In case somebody did too. Okay, I'm gonna scoot him all the way over. Come in, hamster. Look how cute they are. That is just the cutest thing ever. Ah. So if I lift the whole thing up, there you can see they're in their cozy bed, sleeping for the night. So this was part 2 of the Sleepy Pet beginner project. I hope you had fun with this, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. See you next time.